Finding an accommodation in Germany could be very challenging and difficult. I remember the things that I had to go through while looking for an accommodation. And in this video, I'm gonna give you all the tips and tricks that I've learned throughout this years while living in Germany. And I'm pretty sure that after watching this video, you wouldn't have to watch any other video to find accommodation. And by the end of this video, I'm pretty sure you're gonna learn quite a lot. So make sure you're watching this video till the very end. I have divided this video into 4 sections. You'll see the time codes in the description or the comment, and then you can jump onto any of the section as you'd like. Also, if the video is a bit slow for you, then you can also speed it up like for 1.25x or 2x. So let's get started with the video. Section 1, things to consider before starting the search. The first thing you need to consider is location. So you need to see how far is the accommodation from the university. Second thing, you need to see if there are any grocery options nearby. Third thing, if you're into gym, you can see if there is any gym nearby. Fourth thing, you can see if it's near the city center. So you can see all of those things, and if there's any other important thing to you, then you can also look it up. So after seeing all of those things, you're gonna decide the budget. How you're gonna decide the budget? You're gonna go to some application, you're gonna see the rent of the places in that location, and then you're gonna find the average rent. For example, if I'm looking in Munich in a certain location, then I would see the rent of, I don't know, 10-20 places, and then I would calculate my average. So let's say the average would be around 700 euros. Then you'd have an idea that, okay, if I want an accommodation in this location, then I'd have to spend 700 euros. The third thing you also need to consider is the room size and the number of people you are sharing the accommodation with. You don't want to live in a 10-meter square or 9-meter square room, right? So you also need to consider the room size and also the number of people you are sharing with. Of course, if the room size is smaller, you'd have to pay the less price. If the room size is bigger in the same location, you'd have to pay more price. Just to tell you, all of those things goes hand in hand. For example, if the average rent is 700 euros in the city center and your budget is around 500 euros, you could move a bit away from the city. And of course, the rent's gonna go down. But one thing you have to keep in mind, the one thing you can focus on is there any direct connection to the university where I'm living? You don't have to see how far it is in kilometers, but you have to see how far it is in terms of public transportation. For example, if you want to go to university from a certain location, sometimes you might have to change from a metro, from a U-Bahn that's basically metro, to a bus and then to a bus again. And that thing you don't want to do because sometimes the bus gets cancelled, sometimes the U-Bahn gets late. So you don't want to get into that. So try finding an accommodation which has direct connection to the university. So like you're going to take one bus and then you're going to reach directly in front of the university. So now let's jump on to section 2. In this section, we'll talk about where to actually find the accommodation. The first place where you can find the accommodation is of course Facebook and WhatsApp groups. So not a lot of people actually talk about it and know about it, but I would say this is the best bet you'll have. So what you have to do, you have to go to Facebook. You need to go to the search bar, search in the name accommodation in, write in your city name. If you're living in Munich, write Munich, Hamburg, Berlin, or Kassel, or any other city you're living in. You'll see a list of groups. You can join any of the groups, and then you're gonna post there that, okay, my name is this. I'm looking for an accommodation and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell you in detail in section 3 what exactly to write in the Facebook groups and every other application. So make sure you're watching this video till the very end. And believe me, it's going to be very, very helpful for you. About WhatsApp groups, how are you actually going to join the WhatsApp groups? So basically, if your friend is living in Germany in a certain city where you're coming, or if you have any connections, then ask them if they know about any WhatsApp groups. And then you can join those WhatsApp groups. And in WhatsApp groups, you'll see a lot of options. A lot of people who are moving out, they're going to post that, okay, I'm moving out from this date. And you can easily message them and get an accommodation real quick. But I think it's gonna be your best bet. If you don't really know the people, then what you can do, you can also go on the Facebook. You can search for your community, for example, Indians in Germany, Indians in Kassel, and then in Kassel, you're gonna message some people if they know about any WhatsApp group, and then you can also join their group. If you're already in Germany, if you're already in the city, then maybe talk to the people. They're gonna tell you about the WhatsApp groups. So I think it's gonna be your best bet. The second place where you can look for accommodation is student dorm. It's going to be the most affordable option. So you must have to apply for student dorm if you're a student. As soon as you get enrolled in the university, you're going to get a matriculation certificate, and using the certificate you can apply for Studentenwerk or private dorms. So basically there are 2 types of student dorms. One are private dorms, one are Studentenwerk or Studierendenwerk. It's basically run by a separate company, and you can also go on their website and apply. I'm going to tell you in detail how exactly to apply. But in student dorms, you're going to be sharing the place with 7 to 15 people depending on the dorm. So you're going to have a shared kitchen and shared toilet, and of course you're going to have your own private room. It's not like some other places where there are bunk beds and you're sharing them. It's different kind of thing, but here in all of the student dorms, it's usually you have like your own room, you're sharing the kitchen and the toilet with the people. Private student dorms are a bit different than Studentenwerk, and you can basically look them on google.com. So what you need to do, you need to go to Google and write private student dorms in Munich or Kassel or Berlin or Hamburg. So you need to look it up, and then you're gonna see some of the places and you can directly apply to them on their website. In section 3, I'm gonna tell you exactly how to apply because there's a lot of people applying and only a few getting in. One thing more about student dorms is that the waiting period is quite high depending on the city. So maybe in smaller smaller cities, you might get it immediately, but in bigger cities like Munich or Berlin, it's very difficult. So the waiting period is very long. For example, in Munich, the waiting period is anywhere from 3 months up to 10 months. So your degree is going to get completed, but you might still have to wait for the dorm. Coming on to the third option is WG gesucht. WG means Wohngemeinschaft, which basically translates to shared apartment. As the name suggests, it's a shared apartment, which means you're going to share the apartment with 3 to 4 other people. Or it depends, it could be like 1 to 5 other people. On WG gesucht, you won't just find shared apartment, but you'll also find house, studio apartment, and other apartments as well. In shared apartment, you're going to have your own room and you'll be sharing kitchen and toilets with the other. The fourth place where you can look for accommodation is Kleine Anzeiger. Kleine Anzeiger is literally a gem. There you can find everything. You can find electronic, clothes, furniture, car, literally everything. So it's a gem, and of course you can also find accommodation there. The fifth place is gonna be Imo Scout 24 or Imo Wealth. It's going to be a bit on the expensive side, so you also have to consider that. Plus, in bigger cities like Munich, it can be very, very competitive. It's not just for apartment, but you can also find real estate there. And the sixth place is gonna be Airbnb or Housing Anywhere. If you're coming to Germany for the first time, you can also choose Airbnb because it's much easier to find. And of course, they're gonna be a bit on the expensive side. I mean, they're gonna be very expensive in comparison to other options, but if you cannot find anything from the other options, then you can also go with Airbnb or Housing Anywhere. Now let's jump onto the section 3 where we will talk how to actually apply and what exactly to write so that you are definitely gonna get an accommodation. So the first thing I would say you is make some templates. So you have to make 3 templates. One is going to be for the landlord, one is going for the social WG, and the third one is going for the Zweck WG. And you can make the fourth additional one for a very social place as well. See, there are 2 types of WG. Friendly WG is basically where the people are social, they're going out on weekends and like they're kind of friends. And Zweck WG, it's just like they don't know each other. I mean, they're just living next door to each other. They're not very close to each other and they're just on their own. So you need to make templates for all those 3 kind of places. In the first template, if you're writing to the landlord, then you have to write your name. Okay, you don't have to go very formal. You have to write them respectfully, but also you need to consider that you are writing in German. Okay, if you don't know German, then just go on ChatGPT, ask them to translate in a formal language or informal language, depending on whom you are writing to. For your landlord, you'd have to write your name, your university. You need to write that you are neat, clean, and tidy. You're gonna take good care of the apartment. If you're a non-smoker, also write that. If you have any pets, also write that. I mean, if you don't have any pets, write I don't have any pets. If you're a non-smoker, write I'm a non-smoker. Don't write that I'm a smoker. That's going to be a huge disadvantage. And also write how you're going to pay for the accommodation. If you're going to use blocked account, write that. Or if you have monthly income, then you can also write that. The documents you're going to need while applying to the landlord are immatriculation certificate. The second thing is Schufa that you can get on WG gesucht. And the third thing is your income proof or your blocked account proof. Depending on the cities, all of those documents might be necessary and might not be. But in bigger cities, all of these documents are necessary because the competition is very high. And if you could have those documents, you're going to have an advantage for sure. You can also attach your formal photo, not a very formal photo, but your photo where your face would be very clear and where you look like a friendly person. The second template you have to make is for the friendly WG. You're going to write the basic things like your name. Okay, the thing is you don't have to be very formal. You have to be a bit on the funnier side and you have to write like you're writing a friend. So you're going to write your name, your university name, how your day looks like, what your hobbies are, what do you do on the weekend. So you don't have to go very formal, just write in a very casual manner. You can also attach some of your good photos where you're with friends or maybe doing your hobbies or something like that. It's also going to have a very positive impact. The third type of template you have to make is for the Zweck WG. Zweck WG, there you have to write that all the basic things like your name, your university, and a bit of your hobbies, and that you are neat, clean, tidy, all of those things important, and then you respect personal boundaries, and that's it. Let's first talk about how you apply on the Facebook groups. So basically, as I told you before, go to the search, look for accommodation in Munich, for example. You are going to join one of the groups, and there the first thing you have to see if the posts are in English. Most of the posts are in English, so you also have to post. So what exactly are you gonna post? The same thing, like the same template you are using for the landlord, but you have to post this time in English. So you have to like write your name, your university, your age, and your budget as well. So that's all, and then just write DM me if you have the accommodation. Then a lot of people might DM you and then you have to contact them. The second thing you can do on Facebook group is go through the group, look if some people posted recently and DM them. After messaging them, also leave a comment that check DM. And about WhatsApp group, it's also very easy. Once you have joined the WhatsApp group, some people are going to post that they are living their accommodation and they would like to hand it over, or some people would be subletting it. Subletting is basically some people are, for example, going on a vacation for 2 months. So they might leave their stuff in the room and you are just going to stay there for 2 months, and you'll have to pay them the rent so they don't lose any money. So that's basically subletting. So a lot of people actually sublet on Facebook and also on WhatsApp groups. So that's also going to be a very nice option for you until you find something permanent. Now let's talk about WG gesucht. On WG gesucht, you'll find three types of people. So the first one is going to be the landlord. The second one is going to be your future flatmate, which is the social flatmate. And the third one is going to be the future flatmates, which is like in a swag WG. So if you're writing to the landlord, take the same template, put it on, add your photos, add your documents, and just send it to him. If you're writing to the future friendly flatmates, then make sure you're reading the description very carefully, because sometimes in Wikigezook they hide the code words so that people wouldn't just, like spam everyone, sending the same message to 10, 20, 30 other people. So you have to like read the description. If they're writing like on Saturday, they go out to play volleyball somewhere, and on Sunday they have a movie night or something, and they also like to cook together, then make some tweaks in your friendly WG template. Then write, I would love to join you for volleyball, and I also love to cook together, and all those things. So you need to write a bit. You have to make some tweakings because you cannot just put the same template everywhere. So once you're gonna have the template, it's gonna be very easy for you to make some tweakings. So believe me, just do that. Read the description very carefully. For the swag WG, they don't really do a lot of things together, so you just have to put the same template you made for the swag WG and just send it to them, and just add a nice photo of yours. To apply for a Studienrentenwerk, what you have to do, you have to go on the website, you have to go to the university website. You can see a list of student dorms, or you can also go to Studienrentenwerk München. You can write if you're in Munich, or you can write Hamburg, Berlin, and then you can go to their website and apply it directly from there. It's going to be very easy. You just have to upload your immatriculation certificate. To apply for the private dorms, they are a bit more social, and they are, you can say, they are even more social than a social WG. So you can use the same template, but you'd have to write a bit more. So you have to like make an extended version of it. Like if you're writing what you do on the weekend, then make it a bit more. And like I told before, in dorms, there are a lot of people living together. It could be from 7 to 15 to 25 people living on the same floor. So you have to make sure, and sharing the kitchen and toilet with each other. So when you're applying there, you have to write, okay, how do you imagine yourself living among so many people? And when you're writing to them, you also have to write what you can offer, because they have like 400 other people to choose from, right? So you have to tell them, okay, like just go a bit deep, like, okay, not, you don't have to tell your goals in life or something like that, but you have to tell like how fun it would be to live with me, what kind of person I am, how fun I am. So you have to show that aspect of yours when you're writing for the private dorms. For EmoScout24 or EmoWell, you just have to write to the same way you write to the WG landlord. So you take the same template and send the message. That's all you have to do. I have streamlined all the process for you. For Kleinanzeiger, it's going to be the same. If it's written by your future flatmate, which are friendly, then you're gonna use the template which is for friendly WG. If it's written by the landlord, then you're gonna pick the same template and send it on Kleinanzeiger. But make sure in everything you're making some tweakings, and make sure that you're also changing the name, because I've seen like a lot of people, they are like, they wrote to one person, they copy the whole message and they send it. They don't even change the name. So don't make that kind of mistake. You won't even get responses. So now jumping on to the section 4. In this section, I'm gonna give you tips and tricks and what after you have found the accommodation. So finding an accommodation is actually a number game. You have to apply to as many places as you can. Don't think, okay, I'm just gonna apply to one place and wait for the response. If they're gonna say no, I'm gonna apply for the other place. Nope. What you have to do, you have to apply to as many places as you can. Like even apply to the places which are a bit above your budget, so that, like you have to be a bit flexible, because sometimes in bigger city you cannot have a really tight budget, and like make it in the range that, okay, my budget is from 400 to 500, and then apply to every place in that range. And don't just apply to 10 places, 20 places, 30 places. Apply to 50, 60, 70 places, because it's like doing job applications. And in Germany, you don't select the apartment, they select you. The second thing you need to consider before signing the contract is if you are getting a KVR or KVR, which is basically Startanmeldung. So Startanmeldung is very important in Germany, and even if you want to do job later, you're gonna need Startanmeldung, which is city registration, and you have to see if they're giving you city registration. When you're basically getting a sublet, then they don't get KVR, and it's okay like in the beginning 1 to 2 months if you're not getting KVR. Even in Airbnb, it's also a bit difficult to get KVR. So I think in the beginning 1 to 2 months it's going to be all right, but after that make sure you're getting Startanmeldung. It's very important. The third thing, you have to be aware of scammers, because on Facebook or even on WG gesucht, you'll stumble upon a lot of scammers. And like what's a very typical scammer behavior? They would say, I'm not in Munich right now, I'm not in Germany right now, and I'm living in Italy right now, and I have my accommodation and I would like to rent it right now. And they're going to send you the photos, and they're going to tell you that just send me the money, and then once you come to Germany, I'm going to hand you over the keys, or maybe my friend's going to come there, or I'm going to send you the keys per post, and then the apartment is yours. But no, the apartment is not yours and the money is theirs. So make sure you have to be very aware of scammers. And one more thing, before signing the apartment or even before sending the money, make sure you're seeing the apartment. So if you're in the city, go and look at the place. And if you're not in the city, then make some friends, ask them to go personally see the apartment and then tell you if it's for real or not. If everything looks all right, then sign the contract and then send the money. But if you don't really have friends who could actually go and visit the apartment, and if you're not in Germany, then what you can also do is ask them to video call you and show you the apartment online. After seeing the apartment online, ask them to send you the contract and sign the contract, but don't send the money yet. Tell them that you can only send them money after coming to Germany and you're going to give them deposit and rent only after coming to Germany. That's going to be your best bet. Money is very important, so don't make a mistake of just giving it away. So don't just trust anyone. You might think, okay, it's a developed country and you could trust people, but believe me, you cannot. There's a lot of scammers sitting here as well. They are maybe sitting somewhere else and they're scamming people in Germany. One more thing before signing the contract, read it very carefully because there's a lot of terms and conditions. So you have to read it very thoroughly. The contract is mostly gonna be in German, and also if it's not in German, then most probably it's a scam. If it's scanned and translated, then it's not a scam. But if it's not in German originally, then it's going to be a scam for sure. Because in Germany, all the contracts that at least I have seen, they are in German or they are translated. And you can see on the top that it's translated. So make sure you're reading the contract very thoroughly. If you don't know German, then just go on to ChatGPT, put the PDF or put the image or go to Google Translate and translate it and read it carefully. Also in Germany, there's basically two types of rent. So basically Warmmiete and Kaltmiete. So Kaltmiete is basically the rent without utilities. So it's basically the rent for the place and there's no electricity, water charges or any other thing included. In Warmmiete, you have electricity, water charges, and most of the times also the Wi-Fi included. And you also have to consider that before signing the apartment. So because the Kaltmiete could be around 400, 500 and the Warmmiete could be 700. So you have to look into that aspect as well. On top of that, in Germany, they also have radio tax. So if you're having the whole apartment for yourself, you have to pay radio tax. And if you're sharing the apartment with 4 to 5 other people, then you have to divide the radio tax with 4 to 5 other people. Even if you're not using the radio, you have to pay the radio tax. It's compulsory for everyone. It's not much, it's around 20 euros per month and you can divide it with your flatmates. The sixth thing I would say, if you cannot find the apartment, if you cannot find a long-term apartment, just go with the short-term apartment. Like I told you before, on Facebook, even on WG or WhatsApp groups, you can easily find short-term accommodation. And finding a short-term accommodation is going to really help you. But in bigger cities like Munich, it's even difficult to find a short-term accommodation. So what you can do, you can also look on Airbnb or Housingware. And of course, it's going to be a bit expensive, but it's better than no roof under the head. Even after all this, you cannot find a place, then you can also look for hostels. So basically, you can look for A&O hostels, or there are other types of hostels which are basically for tourists, and you can like book it for some days until you can find a permanent place. So like you can go onto their website, look for the accommodation, look for the place, and it's like a dorm. So basically you're gonna have bunk bed, and of course it's a temporary solution and you can only live there for a while, but it's better than nothing. And that's all about the video. And if you like the video, make sure you're gonna like the video. And if you have any queries, then make sure you're gonna comment. And also I have a Telegram group, so you can also join that, and make sure you're subscribing to my channel for more such content. Thank you for watching.